One of our favorite genres here at Full Stack is games. Developers are well aware that games have challenging state management requirements and rendering requirements. I think you'll agree with me that this next team really overcame those challenges with style. So let's take a look.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jerry. This is Nick, Claire, and Brian. Now, our application is Katan. Before beginning this project, we knew we wanted an engineering challenge. Complex logic to overcome. To build a unique UI, UX experience, and to utilize cutting-edge technologies. While wondering, what could possibly encompass all these possibilities that we so desired? We thought of games, specifically Settlers of Catan. Card distribution based upon game logic, trading, communication, and interaction between players, and the board that users could fluidly interact with. Engineering-wise, we would need to implement complex data structures and algorithms for the many possibilities inherent in the game. A nuanced multi-user experience had to be made, as well as extraordinary visualizations could be created. This was the exact challenge we wanted now here. Nick.
Thank you very much, Jerry. So basically in the planning phase of our project, we realized that one of our main problems and one of my main challenges was to create the board itself. And what that means to us is how do we create a board that's both intuitive, responsive, and yet still keeps the mechanics of the original board game. And the way we approached this was to basically make each piece of the board a React component individually. And that gives us two very important aspects. Number one is that now we can make piecewise interactions on the board. And number two, each piece of the board is now decoupled from the rest. And finally, by using React Canva and the HTML5 canvas and layering those components that we made earlier, it gives us a lot of control in terms of front-end rendering. And the board itself currently holds more than 150 pieces of React components, but as a whole, it delivers a very fluid, very simple user experience. Next we have Brian.
One of the first aspects we wanted to address was how exactly were our users going to interact with our application. Before coding, we created several different wireframe prototypes to ensure that our application was as intuitive to use as possible, all the while retaining the essence of the game itself. Another aspect we had to address was how exactly were we going to model this board game data. We took into account the interconnectedness of the entire board itself when deciding which data structure we wanted to select. And for example, due to the fact that tiles would have to be aware of any changes within its roads, intersections, we decided that the graph data structure was the best one to pursue. And the way of which we implemented this was that we had two different graphs stacked on top of each other. The first graph would represent all the tiles, while the second graph would represent all of the respective intersections and roads. Now to Claire.
Thank you, Brian. Another layer of complexity is the scalability of real-time multiplayer game. In order to possess data for all concurrent games, as well as to have game states in sync for different players within the same game, we've decided to use Firebase's Cloud Firestore. When a game is created, initial set of game state are pushed to Firebase. Once the game starts, Firebase will send to our local Redux store all the current player inputs, and our front end will process information and re-render any updated components. In addition to that, we also wanted to enforce correct player decision flow. To do that, we feed and process our current game states through our backend logic before they are presented to each player to ensure only valid decisions are feasible. Altogether, we think Catan captures the most enjoyable element of an online board game. We hope you enjoy playing our game live at the link on screen. Thank you.
Wow, that was really impressive. Some of the way they thought about the tiled board itself and the various data structures that they used to interact with it. I guess that they were only able to make those graphics because they had the representations inside Canva.
You're asking the wrong person. Believe me, these students have done amazing things that I come by later and I'm like, oh, I wonder how they did that.
Yeah, that was really cool. All right,
Yeah.
if you like Settlers of Catan and you like this game that has nothing to do with that, you can vote for that team right here by liking the post and liking the pinned comment. And any thoughts, Nimit?
No, I thought it was a great version of Settlers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Let's,
I agree with you. I
let's do
think as
that
an instructor, it warms my heart to see them solving problems using classical computer science lessons.
Yeah.